Alright, this is Andrew with Joda Home Inspections. We're doing a sewer scope today here in Spanish Fork. We have the camera pushed out 85 feet. I just flushed the toilet. I'm going to give it a minute because I want to see what this joint looks like with more water running through it. And then I'll kind of explain what we're looking at. So I'm accessing the line through, well, let me give you the address first. Today is February 11th, 2025, and we're at 657 North, 500 East. So I've got the camera pushed out 86 feet, and I'm hitting a turn on the line, and right after the turn, I'm hitting this lip. I can't tell if this is a pipe that has moved with a significant offset, or if there's some sort of a sweep underneath this line that we're not seeing. In either case, it's a very strange connection, non-standard. It's not the way that a lateral line typically will drop into a city line. Start pulling it back here. So you can see the lip on this. Looks like clay pipe. Some roots coming through it. Looks like a piece of gravel cement above that. I'm going to pull it back real slowly so that I can see everything possible. So real strange. I mean, it makes this turn, it kind of drops down. I assume that that's where it's tying into the city line. You know, we're over 80 feet out, pretty close to the road, so I'd assume that we're right there at the city line. I just can't see the joint where it actually drops into the city line, which is not common. Usually I see very clearly into the city line, no obstructions, so it's kind of tough here because I can't exactly see into it to tell you whether that's connected or whether that's moved. A little bit of an offset here right off the bat, where you can see a little bit of a lip around this pipe. Definitely some deterioration. Looks like maybe a little chunk is missing out of the top. When you have an offset like that, waste can get stuck and create a blockage around the edge where it could then back up towards the house. Whatever's going on, all the water that I've ran has at least made it past my camera. So but that still can happen even if you have some separation, and so that doesn't necessarily mean that you're in the clear. I don't like this one because 99% of the time I can tell you, with a lot of certainty exactly what's going on. And with this one, I can't get my camera through that turn to really tell you much. A couple of small roots here coming through the joint. Those ones are real small. Once you have roots, you're always going to have roots, and so that'll be a maintenance item to stay on top of in the future. There's some pretty significant roots there. Those are definitely big enough that I'd recommend having them cleaned out now. Quite a few more roots here with looks like the beginning of a blockage. There's already waste getting stuck on that. I noticed, so you had standing water here when I pushed my camera through, and it wasn't until I forced my camera through all that sludge that I was able to get past it. But then once I broke through it, all that water and waste kind of flowed through. But if you were to start using this line, waste is going to build up and create another blockage. And so I would definitely recommend having this line hydro-jetted. That would blast out all that debris. And then you want to have it looked at again to make sure that there's no other issues going on where we're not able to see it because of all the buildup. And then at the same time, they might be able to get a different camera through that last joint just to make sure that you're properly connected to the city line. It is the homeowner's responsibility until it hits the shared line. We just passed a bunch of scale, all that is pieces of cast iron, and then right here we transition to cast iron. Cast iron gets real rough and rusty. You get all that scale build up. I would recommend having this line cleaned. You could have it coated where they cut it with a carbide chain, and that'll make it nice and smooth again. It's always a little bit of a risk because you can damage the line You can only make that pipe so thin before it isn't usable or collapses. But I would recommend having it cleaned so that waste isn't getting caught on it. And then this last little piece is ABS, which is black plastic. So you do have some newer lines they've ran throughout the house itself, just not where it's buried. So right now I'd recommend definitely having this line cleaned. It would be best to have it hydrojetted and then evaluated again. But there are some pretty big roots here. Eventually that cast iron will also need to be replaced. I'd recommend having that cleaned in a different way. That's called put coat. That's a different type of cleaning. I'm going to end this recording now. Oh, let me add one last thing. I'd recommend the insurance on this line. You can get HomeServe. It's very inexpensive, or really any insurance, but HomeServe is one of the most common here. And they would help offset the cost if you have future blockages or collapse. They can put money towards it to help offset that cost. I'm going to end this recording now.